I really don't know why it is that all of us are so committed to the sea. I think it's because, in addition to the fact that the sea changes, and the light changes, and ships change, it's because we all came from the sea. And it is an interesting biological fact that all of us have in our veins the exact same percentage of salt in our blood that exists in the ocean. And therefore, we have salt in our blood, in our sweat, in our tears. We are tied to the ocean. And when we go back to the sea, whether it is to sail or to watch it, we are going back from whence we came.
Good evening. I'm Admiral Thad Allen. We know from the extraordinary events of this year that our presence on this planet is not without risk. We also know that despite COVID, Coast Guard missions remain, and our members and their families sacrifice daily for the American public. This week, that world got much harder. 4 Coast Guard family members were lost in a tragic fire on Cape Hatteras. We also lost a pilot and her instructor in an accident in Alabama. I posted the following comment on the Station Hatteras Inlet Facebook page earlier this week. We cannot explain the unexplainable. We cannot undo what has been done. We cannot console the inconsolable. But what we can do is what families do in terrible times. They come together and they say by their presence, we care. We are here with you. So let us, through thought, voice, and deed, say we are here. We care. We are your Coast Guard family. You are not alone. Kira?
Thad, thank you so much. And that's exactly why we are here tonight, to respond immediately to our families when they need us most. And we'd like to welcome you to the Coast Guard Foundation's 16th annual and first ever virtual tribute to the United States Coast Guard right here from our nation's capital. We are so grateful to have this opportunity to continue our tradition of honoring the men and women of this great service. Now, as strange as these times have been, one thing we can continue to count on is their dedication and their continued outstanding service to our nation, as Thad just mentioned. And I'm so proud to again partner with the Coast Guard Foundation and an organization that exists to support these men and women of the Coast Guard and their families. The foundation strives to enhance their service through programs that focus on the well-being, education, and the morale of the Coast Guard, and it can be done with your support. So thank you for being here with us virtually. Now, real quickly, before we continue the program, if you want to bid tonight, you haven't registered yet, I'm going to tell you how to do it. And this is very important because a lot of us even had complications figuring out how to register so we would be able to donate tonight. So if you just get your cell phone right now and you text the letters CGFDC to the phone number or to the numbers 76278, we can get you going. Once again, grab your phone and you're going to text CGFDC to the numbers 76278. And I can promise you we have some pretty exciting items to auction off, even a Coast Guard cutter. All right, we're going to start our program, just like we do every year, with the national anthem performed by the United States Coast Guard Band, conducted by Lieutenant Commander Adam Williamson, and featuring our beautiful vocalist, Megan Wyklingett.
Whose broad Hello everyone, my name is Dan Schultz. I'm the president of Sikorsky Aircraft Company, located here in Stratford, Connecticut. I'm standing in front of one of my favorite pictures, and it's a Jayhawk doing a rescue. I remember in 2016 when the Coast Guard flew a yellow Jayhawk in its original colors to celebrate 100 years of anniversary of flight in the Coast Guard. But I'd really like to reach out to the Coast Guard Foundation. I used to be on the board of the Coast Guard Foundation, and I love what they do for Coast Guardsmen around the world and their families. It's an incredible organization, and Lockheed Martin and Sikorsky are incredibly proud to be part of this family that takes care of each other. So from all of us here at Sikorsky Aircraft Company, thank you, and thank you again. Semper Paratus.
The mission of the Coast Guard Foundation is only possible with the support provided by our generous sponsors. So tonight's presenting sponsors are Lockheed Martin Corporation and Cheniere Energy. Our platform sponsor is Huntington Ingalls Industries. Tonight's Shield of Freedom sponsors are American Petroleum Institute, the Boeing Group, and General Dynamics. A sincere thanks to all of tonight's corporate and individual supporters. And the event committee's efforts over the past year, led by co-chairs Green Kosar and Admiral Thad Allen, along with their flexibility as we transition to a virtual event, has been truly inspiring. In its 16th year, this event has raised over $12 million in support of a very good cause.
The brave men and women of the United States Coast Guard sacrifice so much to serve our country. While they save lives and protect our shores, the Coast Guard Foundation steps up to support them, so every service member can focus on their mission worry-free, with concern for their health and wellness, support in their communities, with training, grants, and scholarships, in recovery when disaster strikes their homes. And when we tragically lose one of our own, we're there to provide comprehensive support to their families. These are hard times for our country, and there are new emerging needs at home. We stand with the Coast Guard, so their resolve is strong and their resilient families are supported, from enlistment to long after retirement. We strengthen the Coast Guard community by being there when and where they need us most. Learn more at coastguardfoundation.org.
Good evening. We are so pleased to have you with us tonight, and a special welcome to our Coast Guard members who are able to join us for the first time ever from around the world. Philanthropy, at its core, is about creating a better world by linking the passions of those who want to make a difference with someone in need. And philanthropy is personal. It's about one person lifting another. At the Coast Guard Foundation, we take our mission very personally. Our partners want the individual Coast Guard members to feel their support and praise. Our individual supporters know that they are making a lasting impact on the Coast Guard at a national level. Our funds are not simply sent to Coast Guard headquarters to be dispersed. We connect the dots with each Coast Guard member, family, spouse, child, and unit who receive our support. Both Admirals Schultz and Ray thanked us for this personal support on their recent visit to our offices in Stonington, Connecticut. We know what our scholars are studying and if they're having a good or challenging year. We speak to individual units to figure out together what their future merchant mariner licensing needs might be. We hear from the COs of cutters underway for months at a time what our morale and athletic gear means to their crew who cannot take liberty during this pandemic and instead need to stay on board. We are having robust discussions with our Coast Guard chaplains on how best to support their mental health programs. and we know by name which families need our help after a loss and what those individual needs are. Our collective hearts and prayers go out to the Coast Guard families of BM1 Harry Ramsey and Ensign Morgan Garrett. We are supporting the families and their crew members now and well into the future as they begin the healing process together. I am happy to let you know that during this challenging year, our partners continue to give generously and support Coast Guard members to the best of their abilities. The fact is, though, that the need of the Coast Guard members has grown exponentially this year. Their mission continues amidst this pandemic, making each and every component more risky and complicated. We need your help to tackle the issues facing Coast Guard members and as they continue their mission to the United States of America. If you have the ability to give, please give now. Thank you. It is now my honor to introduce the Vice Commandant of the United States Coast Guard, Admiral Charlie Ray.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Foundation trustees, distinguished guests, Coast Guard active duty, reserve, civilian, auxiliary, retirees, and friends. Thank you, Susan, for that introduction. I really wish we could be together tonight. I always look forward to Coast Guard Foundation dinners, as these events let us reflect upon, brag about the great work by our Coast Guard women and men, and to celebrate our service. And it gives us time to thank you, the Coast Guard Foundation, and all your generous sponsors for the amazing support you provide to the women, men, and families of the United States Coast Guard. So far this year, the Coast Guard Foundation has provided over $132,000 in scholarships for Coast Guard spouses. Nearly $16,000 of that funding supported 31 spouses in this area, District 5 alone. This year, our Coast Guard Foundation also provided over $500,000 in scholarships for enlisted dependents, of which nearly $90,000 of that funding supported 30 local scholars. What does the Coast Guard Foundation scholarship do for our Coast Guard families? Well, these scholarships send a signal that we care and that we are willing to invest in their future. We all know that college is expensive, but the return on investment is priceless. A Coast Guard spouse who completes a degree or earns income strengthens their family. Through completing coursework, a spouse builds confidence. A Coast Guard dependent who completes higher education coursework gains multiple perspectives and critical thinking ability to apply in his or her own path in life. And a Coast Guard active duty member whose family benefits from these gifts recognizes the benefits afforded by just serving in our United States Coast Guard and how much we appreciate their service. But that's not all. In 2019, the Coast Guard Foundation provided over $1.7 million to units via their shipmate fund to enhance unit well-being and morale. Units will typically use these funds to beef up their unit gyms, which get a lot of use, as well as buy outdoor recreation gear like kayaks, so unit personnel have the ability to enjoy the waters where they work. This is especially important in this COVID time of year and to relieve the stress on our shipmates as they go about doing their Coast Guard duties. This year, shipmate funds supported the purchase of outdoor furniture and theater equipment to create an outdoor Liberty Lounge at Training Center Yorktown. This outdoor lounge boosted our trainees' morale as it gave them something to do in a socially distant, responsible way. This lounge brought our people together. Thank you. And recently received word that the Coast Guard Foundation provided an enlisted member with a $3,000 grant to cover the cost of moving to a new home after her own house was destroyed by a California wildfire. I'm sure this is just one example of many. Bottom line, Coast Guard Foundation positively influences a member's well-being as well as their decision to stay in the Coast Guard. Through scholarships, disaster relief, supporting unit health and wellness, and recognizing amazing work our Coast Guard women and men perform day in and day out, the Coast Guard Foundation cares. And through this caring, the Foundation creates opportunities for not just our workforce, but for the larger Coast Guard family. Because we all know that our families serve too. And for supporting them as well, I cannot thank you enough. So thank you, Coast Guard Foundation and the sponsors of this event, for your support of our Coast Guard women and men, their families, and by extension, our United States Coast Guard, this year and always. I look forward to a great program.
My guess is you will never have forgotten this moment, because I will never forget it, because we had it all over ABC News for a number of nights. It was that video of the U.S. Coast Guard. Remember them saying, "Alto tu barco, alto tu barco." Those words, "stop your boat," rang across the media for months last summer after a multi-unit mission involved Coast Guard members heroically leaping into a fast-moving small submarine in the eastern Pacific Ocean. Let's take another look at that.
Coast Guard Cutter Monroe is the sixth of the national security cutters the Coast Guard has.
Commissioned in 2017, 418 feet, 140 plus crew members on board.
It's out there for drug interdiction, search and rescue. It's a big boat. It can pretty much do anything that we want it to do.
One of her many specialties is her capability to do the counter-drug mission.
We're stopping drugs from getting to the streets of America, playing our part in keeping America and our youth safe. We went on a 3-month patrol in support of counter-drug operations off the coast of South and Central America.
We were out for approximately 100 days.
The law enforcement mission, the counter-drug mission, can be dangerous at times. So on the morning of the 17th of June, started like just about every other morning at sea. Woke up, took a shower, got a cup of coffee, and during my first cup of coffee, the operations officer came into the cabin and said, "Captain, we have a self-propelled semi-submersible submarine."
It was about 200 nautical miles away from us, and I believe the time was about 8 in the morning.
But we went at full speed throughout most of the day. Tried to plan it out so we got there before sunset.
Run to the LE locker, you get your gear set up, you get to the boat, they point you in a direction and you go.
Launch both of our small boats.
The first one being on the starboard side where that cradle and davits are, and then the second one right here, the stern of Monroe.
And we also launched the helicopter to provide aerial coverage. We worked hard to come up from behind. The element of surprise is what we were looking for there.
The semi-submersibles, you can't see them. We were 25 yards away from it before we actually had eyes on it.
The helo was, to my starboard, and both small boats came into it kind of like so, like a pincer.
As soon as we came up on the left side, the semi-submersible went to the right.
They clearly chose not to stop, which is when, me and my team realized that we're going to get on board this thing whether they stop or not.
That's going to be hard to get on!
As me, you said, this is going to be hard to get on, and we made a few attempts.
We were taking on so much water that our bilge pumps couldn't keep up. At that time, we broke back, went to the right side, gave it a little bit of gas.
I saw the whites of their eyes looking at me through the little window they had.
And we decided the only way you're going to get on board is if I park this thing on top. The rest is history. They got them off. We got the drugs.
Offloading the contraband, all the cocaine off the SPSS was an event.
we spent the next 10, 12 hours, unloading.
They had over 7,000 kilos.
I think it was reported going for around $230 million.
We stopped in San Diego to drop off all the drugs to the DEA, and we were met by a whole gaggle of very important people. Admiral Fagan came down from Alameda to meet the ship. It's a great feeling of satisfaction doing this work. I know I'm helping the youth of America, I'm helping the United States of America in a whole, keeping these drugs off the street.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you just heard our boarding officer using his outdoor voice. The boarding officer featured in that video was Lieutenant Sam Williams. I had the opportunity to speak with Sam a few days ago. Take a look. It's an honor to have you with us and talk about your operations and the boarding on this most significant case, one that probably got more public scrutiny than probably any other boarding in the history of the Coast Guard. I'd like to start out by having you describe how you actually got into the event itself, how the cutter was queued, and how you actually organized this response, and then we'll talk about the actual boarding itself. But can you give us a little insight onto what happened on the ship and then where you were at and how you were involved?
Absolutely, Admiral. I was notified that we had what we suspected was a SPSS, or self-propelled semi-submersible. I knew we had a maritime patrol aircraft in the air that eventually got eyes on it, but the Coast Guard was able to identify that vessel in the water. So I was a little, I wasn't really sure at that point, do we actually have an SPSS? Because I personally had never seen one before. They're obviously designed to avoid detection, but when I was passed a couple hours after the initial saying that we had one, that we had eyes on it, I was extremely excited. So we had about, I believe it was around a 13-hour lead time for Monroe to steam at best speed to get on scene with this vessel. And with that comes a lot of opportunity for discussions at every level of the chain of command, with us, Jive South, D11, up in the Combat Information Center, identifying team members. I was the boarding officer for this team, and in the video you see the other two TACLIT members who deployed with us because they're experts in this counter-drug mission, who were there to assist that. And of course the coxswain, who was the outstanding boat driver to get us on scene and actually give us that opportunity to even get on board. But I'd say the biggest key to our success was time and planning. Right.
Tell me about how the tactical law enforcement teams, when they're deployed on a Coast Guard cutter, and the actual organic crew meld together to be able to do one of these kind of complex evolutions.
Sure. I mean, they come on board, everything from, they kind of wear a different uniform. Everything they do is just really oriented towards counter drugs, so they don't wear the same boots as us. But I've had nothing but good experiences with them. They mesh well. Hard-working individuals who, are really just a force multiplier. Good character. I've enjoyed working with, every TACLIT member we get out there when we do, both on, Northland and Monroe. But I'd say they're incredibly skilled, and they're Coast Guardsmen. They're flexible. They'll fit. They'll be whatever tool you need them to be. They helped us with anything from training to just executing the mission. But really stellar individuals.
The National Security Cutter is the most complex cutter, maybe with the exception of the big icebreakers that we ever put on the water. We have two different types of small boats, as you indicated earlier, an over-horizon boat, and we have a long-range interceptor. Can you explain how they work together to execute this operation?
Sure. On board Monroe, we have two over-the-horizon Mark IV small boats. We consider those on board our pursuit vessels. They're a little faster. They're a little closer to the waterline. They generally are effective in that capacity. We always launch two boats at the same time, the Mark IV, but then the long-range interceptor. Long-range interceptor, a little slower, but an incredibly good logistic platform. We fit a lot more people, a lot more stuff on board. So the LRI is always following close behind to then do those personnel transfers where, the Mark IV, you don't have as much room to whether it's, equipment or people or contraband. I feel like the LRI is well designed for that, whereas the Mark IV really well designed for the pursuit mission.
Yeah, for the people who are not familiar with small boat ops, can you describe the relationship between you as a boarding officer and the coxswain, and how you actually manage it when you come alongside and then make the decision to put the people over the side?
Yeah, so as the pursuit mission commander and the boarding officer on board, I work hand in hand with the coxswain. The coxswain really does have ultimate responsibility over that small boat, and we were lucky that BM1 Brandon Elliott was as skilled as he was. So it was almost in sync when he was able to go around. I think we both were thinking the same thing. His first approach was like, this is a little sketchy, not sure if this is it. He went around to the other side of the SPSS, and I think all at the same time, me, the BM1, the 2 TACLET members realized this is our opportunity. So ME3 Rivera got on board first. Narco Knocker took care of that, and then me and the ME2 were close behind, jumping on board to support him in that. And luckily, like I said previously, it was enough to get him to stop at that point. So the coxswain and the boarding officer work hand in hand.
So this video obviously went viral, probably the most viral video in the history of the Coast Guard. What was the reaction for you folks in the boarding team and on board the ship when you had such a public response to what you did?
Well, to be honest, I couldn't believe that it was released, or who released, or how exactly it happened. All I know is, I think somebody on board, we just pulled into San Diego after the end of the patrol for this really big offload, and I knew the video was something that, of course, like, Lieutenant Williams is not releasing this on Facebook. So we pulled in, and I think I got some text messages. Some of the crew was like, hey, that video's on Facebook. It's like, oh no, what happened? But then I saw the official channel was released in, so I just thought it was hilarious. As soon as I saw it on Barstool Sports, I knew this was a great thing. So.
Well, it was a very prideful moment for the service and for the country, and I know for the unit itself. I think everybody kind of stands in awe of what our people are able to do out there. We put a lot of responsibility, as you know, at people at a very early age, and we hold them accountable, give them the proper training, and when that's all done and they got the right backing from the organization, they usually make us proud. I think you folks did that in this instance. So I can't thank you enough on behalf of the Coast Guard, and thanks for doing this interview with us for the Coast Guard Foundation.
Absolutely, Admiral. Any way I can help, I really appreciate it.
That amazing story, amazing man. And we were all blown away by this video. And I remember calling you up saying, did you see that Coast Guard video? What was your first reaction when you saw it?
Frankly, it's a young person's game. The last time I strapped on a gun and did a boarding was 45 years ago.
You're still a young man. Speaking of young men, this is the perfect segue. It is my pleasure to introduce to you the 26th Commandant of the United States Coast Guard, Admiral Carl Schultz.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and Foundation trustees, distinguished guests, Coast Guard active duty, reserve, civilian auxiliary, retirees, and friends. Thank you for being with us online tonight. To the Coast Guard Foundation and all your generous sponsors, thank you for all you do to support the women, men, and families of our United States Coast Guard. Let's talk numbers, as numbers frame the tremendous work of our small service. 54,000 is the number of active duty, reserve, and civilians in your Coast Guard workforce. Plus, we're fortunate to have 25,000 volunteer auxiliaries who perform a myriad of supporting roles. Your Coast Guard is an armed force, a law enforcement agency, and an industry regulator with a broad mission set, responsible for conducting 11 statutory missions that cross the full spectrum of maritime activities. Right now, 2,000 Coast Guard women and men are deployed globally on cutters, as well as on various law enforcement and training teams to influence rules-based order, enhance maritime domain awareness, and strengthen partner nations' ability to improve their own capability and capacity. These women and men support the 7 geographic combatant commanders carrying out defense operations, as well as United States Cybercom and United States Special Operations Command. Our Department of Defense partners depend on the Coast Guard as a bridge between Department of Defense lethality and State Department diplomacy. We thrive operating in this space. We fully recognize that our borders begin well beyond our coastline and that threats to our national interests and security can originate far from our homeland. For 2 years in a row, we sent United States Coast Guard cutters to Africa, Gulf of Guinea, to advance the Africa Maritime Law Enforcement Partnership, building partner nation capacity, supporting anti-piracy operations and search and rescue missions with partner nations like Nigeria, Sao Tome and Principe, Senegal, and Cabo Verde. And this summer, the 48-member crew of Coast Guard cutter Sequoia, a seagoing buoy tender, assisted the Pacific island nation of Palau, rebuilding over 50 aids to navigation in Palau's main ship channel, enabling their trade and economic prosperity. And cutters Campbell and Tahoma participated in 2 exercises in recent months, Operation Nanook and Search and Rescue Exercise Argus off the coast of Greenland, partnering with the Canadians, the Danes, our U.S. Navy and French forces, as well as local, federal, state, and tribal agencies. This was the first time a famous cutter, class cutter, ventured north of the Arctic Circle, and Cutter Campbell conducted a port call in Nuuk, Greenland. And in September, upon request from Ecuador, Coast Guard cutter Berthoff, a national security cutter, monitored the activities of nearly 350 Chinese fishing boats skirting Ecuador's exclusive economic zone near the Galapagos Island Marine Reserve. And this year, your Coast Guard interdicted nearly 380,000 pounds of illicit cocaine and other drugs, depriving narco-terrorists, as in the video, of $5.4 billion in profits. These operations, as well as the ones I'll describe next, take place 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And your Coast Guard has not stopped operations despite the ongoing pandemic. In fact, your Coast Guard women and men are working more than ever. Between March and June, Sector Miami oversaw the safe return of 150,000 cruise ship passengers and crew members through the ports of Miami and Port Everglades. In total, our Coast Guard sectors across the country safely disembarked 250,000 cruise ship passengers and crew members and assisted in repatriation efforts back to their home countries. This took tremendous cooperation and collaboration between many echelons of government and with a wide swath of external partners. In this past year, more Americans have flocked to our nation's waterways, and our search and rescue caseload has increased 15% nationwide. Our commercial ship and container inspectors have continued their critically important work, inspecting tens of thousands of export containers, screening imports for hazards, and ensuring commercial vessels carried required safety equipment. Marine inspectors from Sector Virginia were called to inspect the U.S. naval ship Comfort, the Military Sealift Command hospital ship, before it sailed to New York City during the height of the pandemic. These same teams, located across the country, also responded in kind to turbo activation exercises supporting MARAD, activating the Military Sealift Command and MARAD Ready Reserve Fleet to transition ships from standard reduced operation status to full operation status within 5 days, 120 hours, enhancing the nation's readiness for any and all future conflicts. And our buoy tenders maintain nearly 45,000 buoys and beacons across our critical marine transportation system. This work by our sector personnel, managing our nation's marine transportation system, facilitates 31 million jobs and $5.3 trillion of economic activity on and across our waterways each and every year. This amazing work was completed by your dedicated Coast Guard women and men who perform mission-critical in-person duties at their units, both here in the United States and abroad, absent port calls and despite stay-at-home orders. They did this while balancing their children's schooling at home and telework when able to get the job done. And of course, as we're witnessing now, Mother Nature continues to throw curveballs at us. 2020 has tied the record for the most active Atlantic hurricane season, 27 named storms. And the season doesn't end until 30 November. 11 of these storms have made landfall in the United States, another record. Your Coast Guard women and men were strategically postured to respond to each event, and respond they did, while heavy rains from these same hurricanes were flooding their personal homes. And the fires on the West Coast devastated communities, including those communities where our Coast Guard families reside. And civil unrest has affected each of us in personal and different ways. 2020 has indeed been a challenging year, but we know that with every challenge comes opportunity. Challenges offer new perspectives. Challenges influence new ways of doing business, and challenges create growth. Our Coast Guard women and men have, and always will, rise to the challenge. So thank you to the Coast Guard Foundation for also rising to the challenge of supporting our Coast Guard workforce, who for 230 years have not stopped standing the watch protecting our shores and engaging threats to our national security and national defense, both near and far from home. These 54,000 Coast Guard women and men are influenced by three simple core values: honor, respect, and devotion to duty. And they all work to achieve one goal: to safeguard our nation's interests in the maritime commons, at home and abroad. Thank you for supporting our dedicated Coast Guard men and women in this grand endeavor. Semper Paratus.
Huntington Ingalls Industries proudly salutes the men and women of the U.S. Coast Guard for being always ready, relevant, and responsive. Semper Paratus.
I'm Lisa Miletsky. I'm the mother of Petty Officer Jake Miletsky, U.S. Coast Guard. This was a letter I wrote to the Coast Guard Foundation, I would say about 3 or 4 months after the accident. Thank you so much for always taking the time to remember all those in need, and personally for our family, all that the Foundation did for us during our time of grief. Looking back on those dark days, it was about 3 o'clock in the morning, and my husband woke me up. He had gotten the call. It was a nightmare. Jake was a man's man. He loved everything aviation. He loved his dog. He was outgoing, honest, and always personable. His father had flown in C-130s in Vietnam, and from the age of 14, that was his ultimate goal, to be in the aviation part of the Coast Guard. So he decided to talk to a recruiter, and he was much too young at that point, and the recruiter came back when he was a junior in high school, and he signed up. My son was a senior in high school, and when 9/11 came, my son started to think, am I doing the right thing by going into the Coast Guard? Should I be overseas? Should I be a Marine? And my husband actually was the one that talked him out of it and said, go with what you've already started. Go with the goal of being in the Coast Guard. And he went and did all of his qualifications. He had just qualified for the C-130 only 2 weeks prior to the accident. On October 29, 2009, there was a mid-air collision with a C-130 Coast Guard plane that held 7 souls during the search and rescue for a lost boater. And we were notified that Jake was on that air crew.
We got a guy down.
I had this very foolish thought that he would be safe. He's here on our shores. He's not where those other young men and women were suffering and dying for our country across the way. And yet he was doing his duty. He was doing exactly what he was trained for. And so many people have no idea that our Coast Guard are watching us while our men and women are fighting overseas for us. And until something bad happens, do they understand? Jake was the strongest link in our family chain. And he kept us all together, whether it be laughing or playing having a great time, or in the saddest part. And even though Jake was taken from us through this tragedy, I know in my heart that he's safe because he lived 26 years doing exactly what he wanted to do. Happy with the work that he did, and fulfilled what he did in 26 years some people never have in their whole life. And for that, his job is done. He did his work well, to the best of his ability, and I couldn't be more proud. The Coast Guard Foundation came and has taken us under their wing. We are their family. They have been in my life since October 29, 2009, and they allowed family members to go and took care of us as far as housing and food, transportation. It gave us the ability to go and honor our son with the rest of his team, the rest of the Coast Guard who came from all over the United States. They gave us that ability to go worry-free. And for that, I am forever thankful. On going through Jake's things from boot camp, I came across a quote by him. "My Coast Guard is different from Army, Marines, Air Force, and Navy. We don't prepare to die. We prepare to die to save a life." Ironic that it would happen to him. I am thankful that he enjoyed his life in the Coast Guard. I am thankful that he loved and lived his dream. His work was finished here, but he, I am sure, guards and protects all of us left behind. Thank you for all you do. Sincerely, Lisa Moletsky.
Jason Moletsky's story is personal to me as well. The same night, 29 October in 2009, I got the call no leader wants. Coast Guard C-130 1705 with 7 crew members had collided with a Marine helicopter over Southern California. Pam and I were there for the memorial service in Sacramento, made possible by the Coast Guard Foundation. I share the sorrow, the anguish, and the tremendous loss to those families. I will never forget.
I don't think any of us will ever forget. And listening to Jake's mom, it's an amazing example of the impact that the Coast Guard Foundation has on Coast Guard families. Before Thad and I go away, or go any further rather, there are a few others who we'd like to express their gratitude to the foundation and all of you. Take a listen.
On behalf of Coast Guard Station Wrightsville Beach, we thank you, Coast Guard Foundation, for your contribution. Thank you!
Hi, I'm AET2 Wiley Swanson, and I would like to recognize the Coast Guard Foundation for all the generosity and support they have shown Coast Guard members here and around the fleet. From all of us here at Air Station Traverse City, Michigan, we'd like to say thank you.
Greetings from Coast Guard Station Castle Hill. I'm Chief Warrant Officer Kevin Bennell, Commanding Officer. On behalf of the crew of Coast Guard Station Castle Hill, we'd like to thank the Coast Guard Foundation for all your dedicated support over the years. In the last couple years, Station Castle Hill has received over $10,000 in education grants and shipmate fund donations, which have greatly improved the quality of life for the members assigned to Station Castle Hill. On behalf of the crew, thank you very much. Semper Paratus.
During the government shutdown, the support we received was truly amazing. As we continue on this journey dealing with the global pandemic, the need to maintain the readiness and the resiliency of our crews and our families is greater now than ever before. Speaking from firsthand experience, the support of organizations like the Coast Guard Foundation are more important now than ever. On behalf of the men and women of Air Station Cape Cod, I want to thank you for your support of us, and I want you to know that we will continue to stand the watch. We will continue to maintain our readiness, and we will continue to be Semper Paratus in all we do. Good evening, and God bless.
Good afternoon from Kittery, Maine. I am Lieutenant Commander Connor Solon on the Coast Guard Tahoma. I want to thank the Coast Guard Foundation for their outstanding support to the fleet. Thank you. Thank you for your contributions to the Coast Guard Foundation.
Thank you. The bottom of our hearts, thank you. Thank you for your continuous support.
Thank you for always having our backs.
Thank you!
And that's why we do this, but we want to do more. Are we ready? This is where we have a lot of fun, Thad, right?
I'm ready.
Okay. We have the opportunity tonight to raise some additional money by auctioning off 2 Coast Guard assets. That's right. You ready for this? You can own your very own Coast Guard cutter. That's right, your own Coast Guard cutter. And I believe that we do have live images now of these vessels underway. Mark, are those live pictures coming in? I think that the feed is tapping. Yep, there it is, coming through the live feed. This is straight from the deep waters of Thad. Can you tell me?
Potomac River.
Potomac River. And in case you don't know what exactly a Coast Guard cutter is and just what's on a Coast Guard cutter and how this can impact your bathtub experience, could you please, Thad, give our viewers here, our bidders, some inside scoop?
Always appreciate your challenging questions, Kira. More
Decades
properly,
now.
they are
Decades.
Coast Guard small boats. The boats being shown here help us defend our ports and waterways, do search and rescue, do pollution response. And speaking of the Potomac, we did not have a Coast Guard station in Washington until 9/11. And with the activities supporting the Secret Service and the other the Metropolitan Police and DOD, we established a Coast Guard station at Bowling Air Force Base. And the boats you see here are very similar to the ones we operate on the Potomac.
Now, that, of course, gave you a very serious answer. Now, I'm going to bring it back to your bathtub, okay? And the cutters that you are actually bidding on now. Yeah, in all seriousness, I had the honor of going to Antarctica. I was with the Coast Guard. I got to be on a cutter firsthand, cut the ice. It was an amazing experience. And I can assure you from bath time with my twins that these boats are just as powerful. They will cut through the bubbles like nobody's business, all right? So let's get down to the bidding, shall we? Bidding on the boats in the bubbles. I got a 3 Bs.
You're on a roll.
I'm on a roll.
You're on a roll,
Hey,
yep.
here we go. Okay. COSAR, are you going to put out the first bid?
Well, I was just kind of wondering. I'm a little old-fashioned. You guys taking a...
Oh, we take cold hard cash.
All right, there you
Show
go.
me the money, Corrine. Show me the money.
Ben Franklin to start us off.
There we go. All right, we can do better than a Hyundai, folks, all right? Take out your cell phones, all right? And this is what you need to do. You need to text CGFDC, Coast Guard Foundation, dig out the cash, CGFDC, and you text those letters to 76278. Again, CGFDC, text it to 76278. We are going to start at 250. I mean, we've got 100 from Corrine, okay? But we'd like to do the increments of 250. Let's start at 250, and hopefully this is all new for us, and it's all happening live and virtually. Now, here are the cutters that you will actually be bringing home to your house. I mean, you will not find these anyplace else, ladies and gentlemen, but here on the live auction for the U.S. Coast Guard Foundation. So 250, let's get the bid. I see we do have a starting bid of 250. Can we get 500? Can we bring it up to 500? Rumor has it, there's a number of us here that may match these bids as we move forward. Thad, you got to help sell this. Come on now. I'm doing the best that I can. What else can we do to convince folks to bid? I mean, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Well, you know, the first duty of any sailor is to save the ship because it's your lifeboat. So we have 2 ships very in need of saving for a very, very great cause here with the Coast Guard Foundation. So reach in and pull out what you can, and let's see what we can do with this bid.
These donations go directly to the families that you have seen in the videos that we have been airing all throughout this evening, families that need your support, whether it's education, whether it's just to pay rent because they are struggling through a tragedy. This foundation provides money and support for families and more importantly, our kids, the Coast Guard families and the future of the children. And so if you bid and we continue, we will get, we have some coming, okay. Oh, we're bumping it up a notch. Thad, will sign the boats. How about that? And see, that's going to encourage kids
Well,
to.
I'm sure that'll triple our value.
Absolutely. I mean, when it goes to Sotheby's, in about 10 to 15 years, that is going to completely up the ante on what these are going to be worth.
We're going to dwarf the flea market.
Look at this. As soon as I said, no flea market here. Although the Pasadena flea market is pretty amazing. I've been there. Okay, and that's in California. $500. So look at this. Just by saying you would sign the boats. Look at this. We are up to $1,000. Ladies and gentlemen, please keep bidding. I'm going to remind you again, grab your cell phones, text CGFDC. Those are the letters, CGFDC. To the numbers 76278. Now, if for some reason you haven't registered, you probably received the email. Check back to the Coast Guard Foundation gala tonight. There is a link. You can register. You can do it that way as well, or you can just text the letters CGFDC to the numbers 76278. All right, we're up to $1,000. We got to do better than this. We're going in $250 increments. All right, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to own a Coast Guard cutter, completely change the bath time experience for anyone. Doesn't even have to be a kid.
That's definitely what everybody seeks in life. You're right. We all want a different bath time experience.
Yes, we do. And you know what? You can do it with the United States Coast Guard.
Might as well.
Absolutely. Who would you rather be in a large body of water with? I would like to be with the U.S. Coast Guard. I'd feel safe. I'd feel protected. All right. Oh, we have, okay, more coming in. Yes, okay. Oh, another $500. Okay, so what do you think our total is, guys, now? Maybe 2,000, possibly? Can we push it? Now, look. Oh, we are up to $3,100 right now. And now that's the grand total so far, right? Now, keep in mind, you don't just have to just bid on the votes, but you can just make a donation, Thad. Just,
You can.
for nothing in return.
Well, I think it's already been established here this evening, the donation is not for nothing in return. It's for the extraordinary support of the men and women of the Coast Guard. And you can see how eternally grateful they are when you're willing to support them with your donation to the foundation. Just impacts the entire service.
Again, you can get on your cell phone, text CGFDC to the numbers 76278. And this is tough, folks. Usually when we're in a big room with all of you and everyone's enjoying a nice dinner and having a couple glasses of wine, it's a little more easy to rally everybody to donate. And so this is a tougher venue, and we need your help more than ever right now, and especially during the pandemic. I mean, if we could just take you back again, we were talking about the video, the small boat ops and that Alto du Barco that we'll never forget that moment. But also, let's not forget the men and women in the Coast Guard that have been working through this pandemic. I was doing stories, our network was doing stories on the fact that they weren't getting paid, and they were still working, and they were still doing their job. This is a time that we should be donating even more. It's a unique.
The extraordinary thing about the pandemic is the Coast Guard missions didn't go away, as the Commandant just mentioned. So there's an expectation that we will perform for the American public and protect life, property, and make sure the marine transportation system runs properly. But it used to be you do your job and you saw the tremendous work these people do underway. You come home and you can get some downtime and be with your family. With the COVID environment, you never leave the risk environment. You never leave the stress of what's being presented there. And after you leave work, doing the great work we do for the American public, you come home and it's schooling your children, it's maintaining the safety of your family, making sure they're healthy. Extraordinary burden right now being carried by our families and our members.
And with that very serious note, I'm going to bring it back to the families being at home with their kids, and that includes bath time, which is exactly why they need the United States Coast Guard cutter here. And you can bid on this and incorporate it into your family time. I mean, think of all the time you are at home. And the kids, they need things to do. They don't always want to go online and spend all day doing school work. You can have some fun here and donate as well and get something fun in return. But also on the serious note, it's not just about the Coast Guard cutters that we are asking for your donation for, but also just the overall mission of the foundation. So again, you can text to CGFDC to the numbers 76278. And it looks like we're close to 4,000 right now. Jay, thank you so much, Dragon, for your, or if it's a Dragon, it could be
Jay,
Italian.
Yeah, and Jay, thanks for coming out to the golf tournament yesterday. It was great to catch up with you.
I've not met Jay. What's his last, how do you say his last
Dragon.
name? Dragon. So I was right. Okay, I thought maybe it might have a little Italian flair. Jay, thank you so much. Charlie Diaz, we see that you're donating as well. Thank you so much. We're actually able to see your names popping up. Thank you so much. We can see who is donating, and we are up to almost $4,000. Anonymous, $500.
One of my favorite, Anonymous.
It's an interesting book that just came out recently. Jay, again, thank you for your generous donation of $500. In real time, we are getting these donations and seeing these. Sarah Fuentes, thank you so much for your donation. Appreciate it. Oh, and McAllister Towing, Buckley. Buckley has donated a total of $10,000, which brings us up to $13,550 now. Buckley, thank you so much for your $10,000 donation. McAllister Towing, you know Buckley McAllister, he's very generous to the Coast Guard Foundation. Buck, thank you so much. That's incredible. Once again, I am going to keep going until they tell us we can't keep going. But even past the event tonight, Thad, folks can continue to donate throughout the evening.
Donations are open.
It will be
Please
open.
do.
Again, the letters, you text the letters on your cell phone, CGFDC, to the numbers 76278. Once again, that's the donation that you can make via your cell phone. CGFDC, those letters, to the numbers 76278, and you see it up there on the screen as well. All right, Janine Matthews, thank you so much for your generous donation of $500. We keep moving
Graham
up now.
Hine, thank you.
Jason McCarthy, thank you. $4,050 in addition to the $10,000 from Buckley McAllister. Julie Nelson now putting in her donation. Thank you so much. Jason O'Connor, $500. Okay, we're on a roll now. We are on a roll. It's starting to happen. What do you think, Mark? Should we roll the video again of the Coast Guard cutters that possibly, I know that folks are just being generous here and making a general donation, but I also know that there are folks out there that are bidding on these Coast Guard cutters. It's amazing what you can do with a Coast Guard cutter. It really is. I mean, you can go out for a spin on the Potomac, as you said. You can go to Antarctica, cut some ice. What else? What else can you do with a Coast Guard cutter, Thad?
11 extraordinary missions carried out every day by the Coast Guard for the American people. All kinds of watercraft out there, buoy tenders, icebreakers, small boats, high endurance, national security cutters and high endurance cutters, and coming hopefully an offshore patrol cutter.
And I will say, Korean Coastar made a bid on this exact Coast Guard cutter a couple years ago, and my son was able to receive that gift, and I can tell you, 2 years later, he is still playing with his Coast Guard cutter. He's lost a few of the additions to that boat, however. We kind of lost the sides, and I think we might have lost the guns, but we still have the guys in the boat, which I guess, you know, if you have speed and you have manpower and women power, you're good to go.
Well, some of these small boats are emblematic of our deployable specialized forces. This is a special part of the Coast Guard of our marine safety and security teams, our port security units with the reserve. They deploy every corner of the world, providing port safety and security from the Persian Gulf, Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, and basically wherever the country needs them after a disaster or for a special event where you have to lock down the harbor for security reasons. Those kind of boats are used.
There we go, along with the missions that these cutters carry out, all of the Coast Guard boats carry out. We're also having some fun here. For your kids, you can bring home an actual model of exactly what Thad is talking about. And we see the donations right now continuing to come in. We are up to almost $15,000, and we thank you so much for these donations. There we go. Sarah Fuentes, thank you again. Graham, also thank you for your donation. I saw that come through. Macaulay, thank you so much for your donation. This is fantastic. It's Andrew Pace. Okay, we are seeing new names now coming in. $100, $250, $500. Nick Rotrides, thank you so much for your donation. It's so fun to be able to see this in real time. Actually, when we were doing the gala live, we couldn't actually see this going on in real time, Thad. We got a tally at the end of the gala, but now we can actually see the numbers rise. Jason O'Connor, thank you so much for your generous donation.
Randy Mock, thank you.
Once again, almost at $15,000. Let's keep the donations going, and we'll keep it open throughout the night. It was amazing. Thank you for all of you that have contributed tonight. Any thoughts, Thad, before we head on to the next video?
Well, I've done a number of these dinners as a co-host, as a sponsor, a committee chairman, and obviously as a commandant. I never cease to be amazed at what this organization does and continues to do for the Coast Guard, and especially in the last 5 or 6 years, their ability to expand and move to real-time support for our people after a disaster, starting with a major rework of how they actually get support to the field after Hurricane Harvey and what they've done since then under the leadership of Susan Ludwig. We can be very, very grateful that they've integrated into the Coast Guard's internal response system, especially leveraging the CPOA and the Gold and Silver Badge community to really put the resources where they're needed immediately to help our families. So it's always a pleasure for me to do this.
And it's an honor for me to be with you here also and representing the foundation and being in Katrina and also in Antarctica and just watching the Coast Guard carry out missions all across the world has been pretty awesome for me as a journalist. So thanks to all of you who have contributed tonight.
We are GDIT, the thinkers, innovators, and mission experts, supporting some of the most complex government, defense, and intelligence projects across the country, delivering the cloud, artificial intelligence, and cyber solutions that ensure today is secure and tomorrow is smarter. Co-creating with more than 90 tech partners to move the mission forward. GDIT, delivering the art of the possible.
People say that others will not remember what you said or what you did, but how you made them feel. That's what drives us at the Coast Guard Foundation, to create better lives for our heroes while making sure our Coast Guard members and their families feel that they are supported, saluted, and respected for their critical mission. We have pivoted each and every mission component this year to reflect our new environment, sending morale and communication gear for those in quarantine or isolation, finding online options to provide captain's licenses to Coasties, creating a texting feature for increased communication with our scholars, sending iPads and Chromebooks to Coast Guard dependents for online learning, and piloting 2 new programs for child care and mental health issues to support Coast Guard families that are struggling with new challenges. I would like to thank from the bottom of my heart all of you with us tonight who first committed to an in-person event in D.C. in June, stayed with us as we pivoted to a new fall date, and again to this virtual platform. I'd like to thank Kiera and Thad for their incredible offer of hosting this evening in this unusual virtual climate. Your trust in our collective ability to provide necessary Coast Guard support speaks volumes to those that we serve. I would also like to thank everybody who donated during this program and who will continue to donate on our website later in the evening. So far, including all that Corrine and her mighty committee have raised, we have raised $467,000 towards the support of your United States Coast Guard. You are the Coast Guard Foundation. Your vision, your caring, and your personal commitment strengthens Coast Guard members and units. Thank you for being there for members and their families where and when they need it most. Please join us following this program for a live after-hour party. We would love to hear from you and be able to see your faces. To link in, the link is on the event page in order to join us, and thank you again. Be well.
How did we reduce foreign energy dependence to 50-year lows? By working together. America's natural gas and oil. Energy for security. Energy for progress.
Ignition sequence start. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.